So, I wanted to talk about mental health and how this industry kind of differs from other industries, just how it makes it a little bit tough in certain situations, and sometimes you just kind of have to bite the bullet and just do some things. But I really wanted to kind of just talk a little bit and kind of express what my feelings are for this industry and how it can be pretty tough at certain times, and um, you just want to quit, but you just kind of have to push through. So, to give you a little insight, some of the things that I work on is I work on some lower end um, productions in terms of price point. The biggest production I've worked on had a budget of $500,000. It's really not that big of a budget when it comes to making movies, but I work on some corporate stuff and some weddings and just helping people out here and there with some drone stuff or being a second shooter for whatever it may be.
And so, I don't want to make it sound like I'm complaining or anything, but this industry could be tough at certain times. And what I'm kind of struggling with is I feel like I always need to be doing something. I feel guilty when I'm not working because there's always something to do. And it's just where it comes from business of like how business never sleeps. Same thing with film. Film, there's always somebody out there doing something, recording something, or even taking photos of something. And just having this in the back of my mind makes it tough at certain times because I just feel like I always need to be doing something. And when I'm not doing something, it's like I feel like I'm wasting time because I'm not growing, I'm not doing, or so I don't think I'm growing because I'm not doing anything. I'm the only one who is in my business, and if nothing is being done by me, then nothing is being done by the business. And like, it's great. I'm super busy with things, and I'm on track to meet my financial goals. I'm on track to meet my filming goals. I'm on track for a lot of my goals, but it's just, I'm always stressed. These last few days, I've been having that, like, you know, when you're stressed and you feel it in the back of your throat and like on your tongue. I know, weird way, but that's how I could describe my stress. It's very difficult to breathe, or so it feels like it, because I'm stressed. And it's just, it's hard. It really is hard. And like I said, I'm not trying to be complaining or anything, but like, I want to give the reality of it. And the reality of it just feels like it's go, go, go. I was just with my dad trying to spend time with him, and I got emails from clients, I got text messages from clients, I got text messages from other colleagues who are asking me to help out on other projects. And I love it that all of this is coming through. But when I'm trying to spend time with my dad, sometimes I just don't want to be seeing that. And it's really hard not to respond right then and there, because then you feel like that if you don't respond right on, like right as soon as they text you, then they're just going to move on to the next. And at least that's the way I think. Some other people might not think that way. You might not think like that, but that's the way that I think. And it's tough because it feels like you can never stop. And there's times where people reach out at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night for things when me and my girlfriend are on the couch watching a movie, and then I'm looking at my phone, she gets mad at me, and it's just hard to put things down. And so it's really just trying to find those boundaries of when it's work and when it's not. It's hard because I work from home, I have a home office, and so it's always work. It's my phone, it's my email, it's calls, texts, like you name it, and it's coming through. So it's really just trying to find a good balance that makes it super difficult. When it comes to doing the actual work, I'm doing everything that I think is right and what I think looks good. And I'm just hoping that I'm producing and growing and doing all these things right. And just every single time I'm on the shoot, like, I don't know if it's the confidence or if I don't have the confidence or if I'm just being too hard on myself. But even when I'm out on shoots, I'm just like hoping that this shot looks great, and in camera right now it looks fantastic, and I hope coloring it's going to look good, and I hope the client's happy with it and has no issues with that. And these are all the thoughts that are running through my head. And granted, I've never had a client come to me and said that these colors are awful or this video's garbage. Like, I've always had a good relation when it came to the client, and the client was always happy with the product. So I don't know why I'm worried about that, but it's just one of these things that is included in the stress. And it's just some of the things that you don't think about until you're actually there in the midst of it all. And it's just gets a lot of stress put onto me. And I think it's just because I'm very hard on myself, and I just want things to be perfect and look perfect, and there's all this great talent out there, and yeah, I shouldn't be comparing myself to other content creators and other production companies, because everyone has their own style and taste, and what works for one company might not work for the next. But I just can't help it to compare sometimes and say, they have the same exact equipment as me, why am I not getting as good of an image? But I think it's because I'm an outside perspective at that point, and seeing in and not seeing everything that was put behind it and all the work and effort. It's easy for you to like or dislike something else when you weren't involved. Now, when you're involved in the midst of planning things and just getting everything organized and bringing all the gear and setting up the lighting and the audio and the video cameras and this and that, and it's you get nervous that you're not doing things right, or things aren't going to look great or come out as good as you imagined it. It's a lot of work, and it's what you don't realize getting into the industry is for how hard and how easy it is to, like, it's very hard on you in terms of stress, because you're always wondering, when's the next project, or what's the next project, and am I going to buy more gear for this project, or do I have enough gear for it? You're always guessing on this stuff, and that's what makes it hard. But then what makes it extremely stressful is the fact that there's so many other people out there, and there's the veterans who have been in this for like 40 years, and then there's newbies like me who've been in this for 4 or 5 years, and you look at their work compared to yours, and it's like, well, no crap that their work is going to look a little better because they've had 40 years experience and you have 5. But you're wondering, why can't you get as good as an image as they are? Maybe you are, but you're looking at it and being so harsh on yourself that you're not seeing the full beauty in it. And I think that's an issue that I have. And like, I have somebody who helps me get on all of these bigger jobs and these higher end production jobs. And every time he calls, I don't know why, there's nothing to be afraid of, but every time he calls, I get scared and nervous that he's going to say something to me that is either going to be hard to hear or whatever it is. I don't know why, because this guy is, in all reality, he is really nice, and he does seriously care about my career. But then it also makes me think of why does he care? Is it because we're from the same area and he knows what it's like, or is there something else to it? But having all these different people in my network who have all this different experience, and it's sometimes nerve-wracking working with them instead of being fun and exciting. And I think I just lose all of that because I'm a perfectionist and I feel like everything needs to be amazing and looks so great and looks like the next Michael Bay film, but it doesn't. I got into this because I loved recording and loved creating things, and now I'm putting these stresses on me and making myself stressed out when it comes to the business side of it, which it should be more fun than actual work, but it's just that I care so much that it's making me stressed out when I should be having fun. Just if you're new and you're just like really getting into this whole industry, I mean, just take everything with a grain of salt. Don't take everything to heart. People sometimes let their emotions get the best of them and lash out at you, when in reality, sometimes it was them not giving you enough direction, or sometimes it can actually be you, just not fully understanding exactly what they're looking for. But if you're literally just getting into this whole industry, just know that it's not all fun and games, and it's not all about filming. With the clientele that I would have to say I spend like 75% of my time at my desk doing business. And that other 25% is out shooting and editing. There's so much business that's involved in this when it comes to taxes or contracts and legal documents and insurance and scheduling calls with the client and everything like this. There's just so much that you don't realize you're getting into because you just think it's going to be more photo and video work and content creation, but there is a lot of business that is involved in this industry. You might not want to think that, but it's true. And it's sometimes hard, and sometimes you don't know, and you think you messed up and didn't get a client because of the words you said, and that causes more stress. And it's so difficult because you just want to be making content all the time, but you have to take the time out of your day to do the business side and get all these other contracts and all these clients, because then without that, you only could have so many passion projects that you film before you run out of ideas or start losing the fun in it. Like you got to get work and get paid and be able to do this for yourself for a living some way, and that's where the business comes in. So just know that you're not going to be making content 24/7. It's going to be really like 25% of your time is going to be content creating, and the other is going to be all the other business BS that comes along with it. Things have just been real stressful. I'm real grateful for being able to work for myself and not have a boss and not go and sit at a desk from 9 to 5 at a corporate office that I don't want to be in. I create an environment that I want to be in, and I've always been able to, throughout my whole life, create these different opportunities for me to be able to do what I want when I want. And but just being able to be self-employed and work for yourself there's no words that describe it. But however, where it kind of adds more stress onto me is people love hearing that I'm self-employed and that I work for myself. But when I tell them I'm a content creator, I make wedding films and I do corporate work, or I make YouTube videos, or I do this or that, people are like, but how do you make money? You can't be living off of that. And it's just like, sometimes people just need to mind their own business. And as long as I'm making money and I'm happy doing it, then they can go and mind their own business, and it doesn't matter to them. But you get this stress as well from the people around you who don't necessarily believe in the whole videography and photography and don't think that you can make money from it anymore. But they just don't know. And that's the thing. People make comments and have opinions when they don't fully understand things. And they just need to keep their mouth shut, and sometimes you have to just forget about them and not listen to them and tune them out. And that can be tough, but sometimes that's just what you have to do to move on. As stressed as I am and overwhelmed, being able to work for myself is one of the best things ever. People who work for themselves, it doesn't matter what industry, ask if they enjoy working for themselves. And I will guarantee you, say yes. So I know I've kind of just been rambling a little bit. I really didn't write anything down. I just kind of wanted to speak my mind for this video. And I think the best way to do it is not to even plan anything out or write anything. It's just how I'm feeling at the time, being really stressed, but being grateful that I have the work. And I'm sorry I'm rambling and not really staying on track or on topics or anything, but this is just what I came up with while filming it. I mean, at times too, there's gonna be really high highs and really low lows, and it's true. Like, you don't believe people when they say that, but there's some weeks where I brought in like $8,000 and followed by 4 weeks of no income at all. And that week that I made 8,000, I'm at extreme high, and then followed by extreme lows to the point where I wanted to sell all my gear off and just quit the whole thing as a whole. And it's sometimes you just have to truck through, and there's nobody else there to push you. You have to push yourself because you're self-employed. And it's difficult because even out on some jobs, I'm just thinking like, I'm not good enough. Like, why'd these people hire me? I'm not good enough. And you produce the video and it looks a whole lot better than what you imagined it did. And sometimes you just need to kick yourself in the butt, tell yourself to shut up and just put your head down and work, and you'll produce something great. But I will say the plus side of doing all of this is if you don't have some shoots some days and you don't feel like doing anything, like, you can just sit around and do nothing or do what your hobbies are, and you can. Or if you're not feeling great, you don't have to call in sick, you just don't work that day. And I know I was saying like the days I don't do anything I feel guilty, but I mean, you always need to take breaks at points because you're just gonna burn yourself out, and if you don't take these breaks, then it's unhealthy and it's gonna be worse for your health down the road. And you gotta know when to stop. And that's the thing that I'm trying to work on, is knowing when to stop and knowing when that's enough work and I can just stop. Even so, when you don't have jobs, you're working on your Instagram, your Facebook, you're posting things, you're working on passion projects, you're writing things out, you're doing this and that, and you just don't feel like it's enough at times. And that's what makes me feel like I need to work all the time. So the things that I'm trying to do is trying to be away from everything for more days. Like, I should really try to prioritize going on walks and going on hikes and just enjoying the time and not even thinking about work, and just enjoying the time with my girlfriend as we're out walking or hiking, and put work completely aside. And it's tough because she even has a stressful job, and I feel like that's all we talk about is work or our cat. Like, there's just times where growing up, you don't realize there's going to be these issues till you're there. And that's how this whole industry is. You don't realize it's going to be stressful or hard until you actually get into these certain situations to where then it's testing your limits. And but if you push through, you know you're going to be a better filmmaker and a better content creator down the road. So I mean, you just gotta find that right balance, like I was saying before, and know when to stop, but when to work, and just finding what works for you to keep yourself stress-free, or being stressful at the times you need to be stressed out at. And the things I'm working on are just trying to take myself away from work after like 5 or 6 o'clock, just so that I can relax and have a beer and have dinner and watch a movie without having to work or worry about work. But I really just kind of wanted to express my mind a little bit, say how I was feeling in terms of this industry and how I've been dealing with some things, even though I've been not doing the best, but I need to figure out what is going to help me, because it's not healthy to be as stressed as I am right now. And I mean, that's why I sometimes have to remove myself and come out to a frozen lake like this and just kind of enjoy and forget about some things sometimes. But thank you for listening. I really do hope that this shows you a little bit more about somebody who's been working for themselves for a year now. Really hope it helps you see a little bit more of the industry, and that all because somebody looks like they're doing well and is busy and is making good money, it's not always perfect in their world. And that's what a lot of these social medias don't show you, is behind the scenes type deals. But I really want to give you some insight on how I feel and how I am dealing with stress. But again, I really hope this helped you, and I really hope to see you in the next.